Yo, what is going on, guys? Membro here, back at it with another college football weekly podcast. Season's almost here. It's right around the corner. So I said, I figure, let's get this thing started. And some huge news has come at us. We are going to get right into it. All of this conference realignment stuff. 12 officially adding 3 more teams, Arizona, Arizona State, and Utah. But let's go really, if you guys want to go to the beginning of all this conference realignment stuff, like if you want to go to the beginning, you got to go to originally the SEC getting Oklahoma and Texas. SEC, this is all your guys' fault. All of this change is mostly their fault. Just because Texas and Oklahoma couldn't win in the Big 12, I guess they needed a better excuse for losing their conference. I guess, it's just all about business. And that made sense. Okay, that move, it makes sense. Southeastern Conference, I guess they'll just make it the South Conference at this point. But, that makes sense. Big brand football teams, and I guess there's already Texas A&M in the SEC, so it makes sense. Then, I don't know if it happened first. Yeah, then we got USC and UCLA going to the Big 10. This makes absolutely no sense. Like, if you look at the map, let's try to look at a map right here. This isn't accounting for Oregon and Washington, which we will get to. But at this point, look at the map. That makes no sense. The Big 10 is, Midwest North type of deal. You add in USC and UCLA. If you've been watching the podcast, I've been criticizing this move. I think it's just stupid. Overall, I think all these moves, it's obviously, as if we go back right here, an article, as Deion Sanders says, if we can, I saw one. Where is it? Yeah, Sanders conference realignment. It's all about the money. This is all about the money. It's not about the students. Like, if you think about it, the students are going to be missing technically probably more school now because of these huge travel times. And I got so many obviously I got a lot of problems with this. I'll get into some pros too. We'll get into all of that, but let's go back this Big 10 map. Obviously, it looks pretty awful, and adding these teams way over here. There's no sense of geography anymore in the conferences. Not honestly, just not really. Because if you go to the Big 12. Let's go to the Big 12 map. What the Big 12 could look like with 2 divisions. Yeah, they're adding divisions again, and probably they're going to have to in a lot of these conferences. With conferences like 16, like Big 12 has 18 teams. They're gonna have to add. Big 12 might even add 3 divisions. But if you remember, the whole problem with divisions was that you're not always getting the 2 best teams in your conference title game. Big 12, I guess, kind of makes a little more sense, but it's the same deal where they have UCF in Florida. They're going to end up having to play a team maybe like Arizona State, who Arizona State is joining the Pac-12. So they're going to have to go across the country just to play a conference opponent. It's just wild. Originally, I don't know when this was posted, but it was posted Oregon and UW, they may stay in the Pac-12. This was August 4th. So this was just yesterday as of recording. Okay? And it was it's losing momentum. They'll probably stay in the Pac-12. I thought you kind of probably should get out of there. There'd been rumors that Oregon and Washington would join the Big 10 literally later that day. And the Pac-12 is all of a sudden down to, 8 teams at that point? If you have... Well, then also Colorado left for... So, Colorado, okay, you have USC and UCLA leaving, and the Pac-12, okay, maybe we can kind of keep this thing intact. Colorado going to the Big 12 was ultimately just the immediate fall. I made a video about it. When that happened, yeah, it's done. Teams are racing. Teams should have been racing to get out of the Pac-12 when that happened, because there's no saving it at that point with Colorado. Yes, they have not been very good at all, but now they're kind of a big-time school with Deion Sanders at the head. And this will officially be a last hurrah for the Pac-12 this season. I'm still looking forward to a huge season, and this is just crazy. It's changed. This is changing college football forever, with all of these different, basically just super conferences. And they want to basically have, okay, we have our own league, and this is obviously about the media deals. Okay, we got our own league. We, have this TV deal. They want as big as a demographic as they can. So let's get the demographic from LA for the Big 10. Let's get everyone so that we have this exclusive deal. Let's say Big 10, they have this exclusive deal or something with Fox. Fox can get audience from California as well as New York, because it's all over the place. Same with the SEC. Let's bring in these two huge brands in Oklahoma and Texas. Texas is such a big brand that I'm pretty sure they literally have their own network, the Texas Longhorn Network. That's how big of a brand Texas is. So the SEC to go out and get Texas and Oklahoma, huge business deal. And the Pac-12, they just failed getting a media deal. They had, you look back to over these years, they had the deal with ESPN where they would play on Friday nights, but it didn't seem like a very successful type of deal, like Pac-12 After Dark. On the East Coast, it's starting at like 11 p.m. So overall, and then add in that the Pac-12 wasn't getting in the playoff. There wasn't that huge. They hadn't had huge success. It's very sad that the Pac-12 broke up, but you had to see this coming because they could not get a proper media deal at all. I also heard that they through the media deals and stuff, they wanted to split up the money, evenly between all the schools, no matter their success. So, like a Cal Bears is getting the same amount as like Utah Utes or Oregon Ducks, teams that have been in the Pac-12 championship constantly, in the Rose Bowl, stuff like that, where Cal, they haven't really done much at all. And then also, they had higher standards for academics, which, that's very important. This is freaking college. A lot of, everyone's not going to, everyone's just there for college, to get an education, not to get to the NFL. That's very few. But unfortunately, this is the business of it. And, some of the other conferences, like the Big 12, was really just taking the business part of it. I want to try to find an article as well to show all the different media deals, and we can maybe break that down as well. Because I'm pretty sure Big 10 has Fox, and SEC, they might have like a split between CBS and ESPN. We'll have to check all of that. This is very important for Oregon and Washington to join USC and UCLA. Obviously, you're losing these huge rivalries, though, and I think it's really funny that the Ducks said, technically my real rival is Oregon State. Yeah, screw them. I really rather have this rival in Washington. I thought it was funny, especially considering Oregon State did just beat Oregon last year. So, they're trying to act like they're not legitimate rivals or something. I don't know. I'm really scattered all over the place, guys, because this is just huge, exciting news, obviously. So then we have three more teams leaving the Pac-12: Arizona, Arizona State, and Utah. They're going to the Big 12. And I guess that's pending approval. There's no update yet. Let's see. Per Brent McMurphy, of Action Network, Arizona State, and Utah will join the conference pending formal approval in the next 24 hours. This comes off the heels of the Big Ten formally accepting Oregon and Washington. Colorado would have ended up being a Washington State or an Oregon State in this situation if they did not have Deion Sanders. The clutch hire that has already turned out to be, and they haven't even played a single game yet. You see season tickets selling out. You see this, they get this done so that they can basically stay relevant. I also want to get into the Big 12 has done a great job at staying relevant over, the Big 12 did what the Pac-12 could not do, and that was stay relevant when teams left. You saw Oklahoma and you saw Texas leave. So yeah, basically at this point, I think the Pac-12 is basically over unless they merged with the Mountain West. They can get a deal with Apple, but that's probably not going to be as big as what they would have gotten if they still had all these teams. At this point, they can't be the Pac like 4. And maybe Oregon State and Washington State want to go to the Big 10, make it a even Big 20, times it by 2 at this point, and just call it the Big 20, and then you're left with Cal and Stanford, and at that point, I think those two teams should just be independents. You can still play, in Stanford's case, you can still go play like Notre Dame and maybe go out and go play a USC. I don't know who is leading the Pac-12, but this has been an ultimate failure. If all the potential moves discussed and go through, the only remaining full-time members would be California, Oregon State, Washington State, and Stanford. So I guess technically this Arizona State, Utah, and Arizona deal is still pending. It's still pending. So let's see, is there any updates on this thing? Because that would be wild if somehow it doesn't go through and the Pac-12 is back in business. No updates. So we got this thing here. So yeah, let's go over one more thing with with all the merging and switching and all of that. So we got the Pac-12 could merge with the Mountain West. This is what I was talking about earlier. But the 11 programs, they still got Boise State, Colorado State, UNLV, San Diego State, Wyoming. So that, some of these, it was rumored, okay, maybe they add them to the Pac-12 with the remaining teams, USC and UCLA, yeah, they're gone. They're traitors. But we can still get maybe a Boise State and a San Diego State. The teams just betrayed the conference, which, I think is kind of good because really, you got to do what's best for your school. You don't do what's best for your conference. These conferences, do they really matter? It just matters who you are playing and if you're getting the money to get to the championship, if you're winning that championship game, if you're getting to bowl games, all that. Which, on part, these teams joining these massive conferences, it's going to be hell of a lot harder for say even Utah or Oregon to make it to the playoff, where they were already having a hard time in a Pac-12 with just 12 teams, mind you. Now they're going to the Big 12 and the Big 10, 18, 16 teams. There's going to be a lot of competition. Obviously, there's going to be the new playoff format with the 12-team playoff, and I'm really excited to see how this all goes in with these 3 basically super conferences. Can't forget about the ACC. They've stood kind of quiet and just no one's left. They're just chilling. They're ACC big chilling right now. I guess one thing that they could do is finally get freaking Notre Dame over to the ACC while this is all the conference stuff is happening. Might as well do that. But ACC is chilling right now. So I'm really interested to see what the committee is freaking going to do when there's, potentially so many teams from just 3 conferences, how they stack up. 12's going to be the most unpredictable. And I honestly kind of hope, that Utah, Arizona State, that these guys, at this point, the Pac-12 is done. So it doesn't matter about preserving the Pac-12 or any of that. I hope that these 3 teams, Arizona State, and Utah, they can get in the Big 12. And just make it even more interesting, 2024. This 2023 season is going to be interesting because you got the new AAC and BYU teams for the Big 12, including Oklahoma and Texas. And I think I might make a whole video on it or something, but I think this could finally be Texas's sneaky year that they get in, that they actually win, and as they go off to the SEC. But this is going to be so cool to see the Pac-12, its final run. Everyone's going to want to beat each other one more time. Utah and USC are going to have to go at it again, try to beat each other. Utah and Oregon and Oregon State. Oregon State's probably freaking salty right now. They're going to want to, beat Oregon in that final battle. All these teams facing off against each other for, maybe the last time. This is probably the most interesting season of college football in a while, just going into it, and not a single game has been played. So I want to go see what are all the media deal. What's the deals with the media deals? Let's see. So number one, Big 10. So they got this $7 billion from NBC, Fox, and CBS. Takes effect next season. Each team will receive around $80 to $100 million annually. Wow. So here we go. CBS will air 7 games, Fox will air 24 to 27 games, and NBC will air 16 games, and 8 games will air on Peacock. So it looks like you're probably still going to have cable if you want to watch the Big 10, because they're really spread out here. SEC they have a deal with CBS that will expire. Media rights then become property of Disney, which signed a 10-year deal worth $3 billion. So it looks like SEC is just going to be ESPN and ABC airing. So ABC will air 15 premier football games along with the SEC championship. Big 12 is at number 3. So let's see what's up with the Big 12. So ESPN and Fox have agreed with Big 12 that will take an effect in 2025. The 6-year deal is worth $2.28 billion and will provide $45 million to each of the conference's 12 teams annually, which is gonna probably change. When was this article written? Doesn't say. I can't see from here. See, it looks like Fox and ESPN, I guess, and then the ACC signed a 20-year deal with ESPN. Oh my goodness, 20 years. You guys really attached. And then Pac-12, they haven't gotten a deal yet, right? Pac-12 media rights, ESPN expire 2023-2024. The conference's inability to negotiate a new TV deal has caused max exodus. The current deal is worth $250 million that pays out $20 million per school, which exists 12 members. Yeah, so these schools are getting a hell of a lot more, because if you look at something like the Big 10, I think it said 80 to 100 million from 20 million for the schools like Oregon and Washington. They won big. They won big there. So I guess that's all. So it kind of looks like you still kind of should just have cable if you want to watch all the Pac-12 games. Which might just be better because, if you have a million different streaming services and you gotta because I like to change between the games, there's usually 3 or 4 games going on at the same time. I like to change through and see them all. So, or you can just go to some B-dubs. Go get yourself some Buffalo Wild Wings every single Saturday. Honestly, that's the way to go. That's the way to go. Bro, that place is freaking heaven. So many TVs everywhere. I remember when I first went there, I don't know if this is the case for every single one, but apparently, when I first went there, the first one I went to, they got a freaking TV right above the urinal. You can just watch TV while you're freaking pissing. I was, whoa, this is awesome, dude. So yeah, the playoff expansion will also happen in 2024. So all of this is happening in a 1 or 2 year period. So this is just going to be crazy. You look at so we got first round. Oh, here we go. It has a whole little thing about what the playoffs are going to be looking like. All right, so this is what it would look like if it were like 2022, obviously. It says right there. Okay. So you get 4 teams that get a bye. And then it looks like you get first rounders. So, yeah, this would be really interesting. And, like, what are they going to consider? Like, are they going to consider the ACC part of a Power 4? I guess, you probably should. Pac-12 is non-existent at this point, so I guess the Pac-12 will merge with the Mountain West, and that will be just a non-Power 5 school. But obviously, we're definitely probably going to be getting non-Power 5 schools in there. But it will be interesting because you look at Cincinnati, UCF, teams that have made their case. Cincinnati obviously went to the playoff. Those teams are in the Big 12 now. So, which is going to be part of basically a new Big 4 conferences. So yeah, this is going to be really interesting. I think overall I think this is obviously good for the business. I think it's really iffy for the students because they're gonna have to end up traveling across the country every time they want to go play. Like you think about get at Ohio State or something, you gotta travel to USC, UCLA every time you have to play them. And it's really just out of the way. And I'm really interested. Will they do divisions, or will they just do a free-for-all for the Big 10? 18 teams. You're not playing what a quarter, half, or half of the teams in your conference. So what I guess they could do, they could split it up 9 and 9, and then you play basically the 8 other teams in your division, I guess. I think they should go out and get 2 more teams so that you can play 9 conference games and just play your division. But that just turns into the problem of you're not having your 2 best teams play each other in the conference. Maybe it's just the divisions makes it a little unnecessary. In my opinion, unnecessarily complicated, and you don't always get the best, team out of there. Yeah, I think that's gonna do it. Let me know what is your guys' take on all of this? Is this good for college football? Ultimately, is this good for college football, or is this bad for college football? You're basically getting rid of a conference and beefing up 3 others, mainly, Big 12 and Big 10. They've been doing the moves. They've been picking out from the Pac-12. So, yeah, thank you guys all for watching and listening. Make sure to give this a good review if you're listening over on Apple or Spotify, wherever. That's going to be it. Peace.